It looks like a few people are here, right?
All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We're missing a couple people, but they're on their way from what I understand. They're coming from another meeting, so we'll go ahead and do roll call, but just keep in mind there's a couple more people that will be on their way.
Commissioner Mays,
Here.
Commissioner Cook,
Here.
Commissioner Rippon, Mayor Padilla,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Duncan, Councilmember Nager, and Councilmember Dobler, who will have Councilmember Emerson voting proxy for him today.
Here.
Councilmember Hiller,
Here.
Councilmember Valdivia Alcala, Councilmember Ortiz, Councilmember Emerson,
Here.
Councilmember Cowell, Councilmember Lesser.
Could we go back to Councilmember Nager?
Here.
So my count, that's 5 voting members present.
Yes.
Okay. So that is a quorum. Let's go ahead and begin with our first agenda item.
3A, approval of May 11th and July 13th JEDO board meeting minutes.
Okay, we've got the minutes in the packet. Are there any changes anyone saw that need to be made?
Mr. Chairman, I would move for approval.
Second. Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Cook, a second by Mayor Padilla. Those in favor say aye. Or, oh, do we have to do roll call on everything, right? Yeah, okay.
Commissioner Mays,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Padilla,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Duncan, Councilmember Nager,
Yes.
and Councilmember Emerson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. Next item, please.
Item 3B, approval of Project Boomerang incentive agreement and announcement.
Hello. Do we have the PowerPoint? Okay, we're starting this evening off with some exciting news. We have 2 projects to announce tonight and then 1 requesting approval for funding. After voting on all 3 of these, we would like to pause, take pictures, and then we can resume with the rest of the agenda, if that works. So first for Project Boomerang, this is a manufacturing industry company that is an existing business here in Topeka and Shawnee County. They plan to invest in real property and equipment, which will increase their employment. The capital investment for this project is $125 million with 40 new positions and the annual average wage of $55,000 plus benefits. The economic impact over the 10 years is $480 million with the ROI of 713%. As a reminder, all of these incentives are performance-based and will be paid as earned. With the approval of the contract in the packet tonight, we are excited to announce that Project Boomerang is Goodyear Tire, Rubber and Company. And so with us tonight to say a few words about the project and what it means for them moving forward is Tim Davis, the manufacturing director, and then accompanied by their finance business partner, Tim Sogalid. I think I got that right. We worked on it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chairman Mays, Commissioners, Mayor, other members of the JEDO Committee. Goodyear's deeply grateful for the ongoing partnership and support of JEDO and the greater Topeka community. Our Topeka facility is integral to our operations, and in this investment will help the position of Goodyear to continue to meet our evolving needs of our customer base. And for that, we're truly grateful. And on behalf of the Topeka Goodyear Associates, we say thank you.
Thank you. Great. Thank you for being here and thank you for your investment. Can't wait to take that picture.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
well, before you go,
Yeah.
you want to talk just a little bit about, I know we're talking about the investment of $125 million. is this going to change the plan considerably, or that to be developed, or?
It's a little bit of both. For the factory itself, what the investment will do is, it's really no secret that the industry is changing. The electric vehicles is changing the way that we do mining operations. And because of that, we have needs for some newer type of equipment. And that's really what it is. It's modernizing part of our factory, but in essence, it's helping us do other things as the demands are changing, the requirements.
So this is going to be adding new lines to what Goodyear already is putting out?
It is to some extent, and it's also going to, it's within our same product lines, if that's your question, yes.
Yeah. Very good.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's great.
Other question?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Would there be a motion? Okay, I'll second. Motion's been made by Councilman Emerson, seconded by Commissioner Mays. We'll do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Mays,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Padilla,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Duncan,
Yes.
Councilmember Nager,
Yes.
and Councilmember Emerson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, next item, please.
Item 3C, approval of amended incentive funding for Project 3.
So this project was already approved previously, but we did have an amendment because some numbers changed. Specifically, the capital investment, the new jobs, and then that obviously impacted the economic impact. The new amended contract is in your packet, and then the contract that we would like to announce tonight as well is in there with the new numbers. Instead of the 28 positions, they're actually adding 55 with the annual average wage of $55,000 plus benefits. This makes the economic impact over 10 years move from $259 million to $500 million. And that is the ROI of 250%. So I believe now what we'd like is just approval of the amended memo that's in the contract, or in the packet.
Any questions about that at all? No? Okay.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the amended incentive funding.
And I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Councilwoman Nager. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Mays,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Padilla,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Duncan,
Yes.
Councilmember Nager,
Yes.
Councilmember Emerson.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 3D, approval of Project 3 incentive agreement and announcement.
Great. So with the approval of the contract that was in the packet, we're excited to announce that Project 3 is Ryder Systems, Inc. This is a new business, and it is the third-party logistics operation, not on the rental side. So with us tonight to say a few words on the project is John Crenshaw, the engineering manager, and I do believe that we have Scott, Blaine, and possibly Ann on Zoom just joining us, representing the company as well.
Thank you. So, good evening. As you've heard, I'm John Crenshaw with Ryder System Incorporated. Ryder has been in business just under 90 years, and we have almost 40,000 employees in our transportation and supply chain operations. In fact, I saw several Ryder trucks on the road today just coming here from the airport. So I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I have been with Ryder for almost 23 years in various roles, and I am currently the project lead for a series of startups we're doing for a major retailer. And one of those startups will go live here in Topeka at the end of next month. As far as the site itself, we are moving into an older building in Pauline. It's around 140,000 square feet in size. We've had a good experience with the landlord in preparation, preparing that building, bringing it up to speed and code for a safe and productive environment. So, as mentioned, the operation will include up to 55 full-time employees, including management personnel, clerical team members, forklift operators, and commercial drivers. Our customer is dedicated to recycling rather than filling the landfills, so the operation will primarily consist of processing and dispositioning materials coming back from multiple retail outlets. So Ryder agrees with this approach, and as a result, we've had a very solid partnership with this customer. We're also grateful for the support given to us by Go Topeka and the JEDO, and Ryder is looking forward to partnering with this community as well and the state of Kansas. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
That's great. All right, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Good. I'll second. Motion's been made by Mayor Padilla, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Mays,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Padilla,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Duncan,
Yes.
Councilmember Nager,
Yes.
and Councilmember Emerson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Next item, please.
Item 3E, approval of project pages incentive funding for $100,000.
Okay, this is our last one, just looking for funding approval tonight. This is a new business attraction in wholesale distribution. They plan to add 20 new jobs with the average salary of $48,000 plus benefits. The economic impact over 10 years will be $62 million with the ROI of 61%. So just looking for approval on that funding tonight.
Great. I'll make a motion that we approve that.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Mays,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Padilla,
Yes.
Councilmember Nager,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Duncan,
Yes.
Councilmember Emerson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Next item, please.
Item 3F, approval of contract amendments for an earning period extension.
I think if it was okay, we were going to pause to take
Sure.
photos with the companies.
Let's just
Is that
stand at
okay?
ease for a few minutes.
Yeah, I don't think more than 5.
Maybe 5 minutes. How about that? Everybody's back? Are we live? All right, let's go ahead and get started then. Next item, please.
Item 3F, approval of contract amendments for an earning period extension.
Okay, so if you'll remember at the last meeting, we had this item on the agenda for approval in concept, and tonight we have each individual amendment in your packet. They're all the same except for the section where each company has their name and then the years for their specific performance periods that are unique to their own company. So if you have any questions about those, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, all of those amendments will be passed along to the companies and executed, and those are the new dates that we will work off of for their performance periods.
Questions for Molly? Okay, we've talked about this once before, so I feel comfortable making a motion that we approve.
And I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Councilmember Nager. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Mays,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Padilla,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Duncan,
Yes.
Councilmember Nager,
Yes.
Councilmember Emerson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Next item, please.
Item 4, Go Topeka quarterly update.
Okay, I'm going to kick it off with a couple of introductory comments. First, I do want to send Matt Pavarnik's regrets. He had a family emergency, had to go out of state, so he's not here this evening, but assured me he would watch the recorded Zoom when he gets back and get some time, I'm sure. So also wanted to extend congratulations to the city team for selecting our new city manager, and congratulations to Steve Wade. I'm excited to move forward with progress in the city's arena and excited to have a good partner there. So thank you all. I know it took a lot of time and thoughtfulness to get through that process. Next, before you have some brochures I just wanted to share with you. We've been talking a lot about aviation economic development as an industry in our community, and this is just one of the marketing pieces that we created. It was specific to an international event, so there are a lot of QR codes in there because we needed to really be strategic about how much information we shared and then driving them straight to the website. So some of it's a bit technical that you guys might enjoy, others may be flying over your head. No pun intended, but anyway, that's just one of the pieces of collateral that we're starting to use to speak to that industry in the language that they understand and that resonates with them. Along those lines, we have hosted a couple of tours at both of the airports for companies that are interested in looking at the airports for development sites, and then also have had a great increased partnership with the state, specifically with the Deputy Secretary of Commerce, Paul Hughes. He has a deep history in the industry from his prior location and has really lent his expertise and opinions and thoughtfulness and time around this industry as we learn how to best position ourselves. So he spent a full day touring both of the airports with a number of you around this table and some other private sector leaders. So thank you all for your time with that as well. So working to just better understand the basic needs that we need to meet to be able to be competitive in that industry, and the things that those companies are needing and expect. We have a couple of large, really detailed RFPs that we have been working on in the past couple weeks that would have huge impacts in our community and create hundreds of jobs. And so Ashley and I worked really hard with the team at MTA and the others in the utility industry and others that we would normally work with on RFPs to put our best foot forward in that, and we'll see what the response is on those RFPs and keep you all in the loop. The experts that we consult with, Baker Donaldson, who we've been working with for almost 2 years now on how to better position ourselves, are going to create a deliverable in the next few weeks that we'll share with you as well, that kind of goes through sort of a SWOT analysis and talks about in more specific where we need to be from a local standpoint and a state standpoint. So that'll be interesting to see what those outcomes look like. And lastly, we are knee-deep in budget development for 2023. We're this close to having the numbers ready to share with you, so be looking for an email from me in the next couple of days with some dates and times to be able to have those one-on-one meetings that we invite you to each year to receive feedback from you all. We are working toward a goal of reducing our operating budget by about 3 to 5%, which is what we worked toward last year as well. As you all know, our revenue from the half-cent sales tax is flat. It is the same as it's been since 2007. So we're really sensitive to that and trying to get the best that we can for the dollars that the community entrusts us with. So with that, I would stand for any questions before I pass it along to the team.
So, Molly, it's my understanding that revenue being neutral is $5 million a year that you guys get has been the same for how many years now?
From the research I did yesterday, it looks like I know at least back to 2007.
Okay, so it's been 15 years since Go Topeka got any additional funding from what was initially in that interlocal agreement. I think that that's something that we need to start looking at, maybe making a percentage of the half-cent sales tax rather than a flat fee. So that's something I feel, obviously we can't do anything about it tonight, but I think it's something that we need to start talking about.
Mr. Chairman,
Mm-hmm.
I might note that that is something that would be part of the master contract of the interlocal agreement. It was also part of the sales tax question. As we put out information to the voters, they knew where the money was going, and it was identified that there would be that money for economic development. And so, we're working off of a 15-year tax agreement, and we're 4 years into it. Passed in 2016? Or
It's through 2031, so are we 4? Okay. 4, 7.
So 7 years, so we're halfway through the 15-year contract. Time flies, I guess.
Yeah. The specified amount, though, was not part of the ballot question. That was
part of the publication. It went out to the public that, and so, but we do have that as part of our interlocal agreement between the city and the county.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely, in my opinion, something we need to talk about. And even if it's not a percentage, it probably needs to be raised some. I mean, the revenues that are coming in from that sales tax have gone up substantially since then. Go Topeka's funding has remained exactly the same, so it's something we need to look at, I think. So,
Thank you all. Are there any other questions before I pass it off?
any other questions for Molly?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello. Next one going here. Just hit the arrow, right? Okay, there we go. Okay, so at our last JEDO meeting in June, I had announced the creation of the Housing Advocacy Task Force and talked about the goals and strategies that we were working towards with that task force. Yesterday, we had our 4th meeting of the task force, and at this meeting, after a lot of great discussion, we did decide that we're going to move forward with a couple of smaller subcommittees that are going to be more focused and action-oriented. Primarily, one of the committees will be focused on identifying incentives that might be available to developers and builders at the national, state, and potentially local level, and finding creative incentives too. I was able to attend the Housing Resources Council conference a couple of weeks ago and learned of a few that I'd never known about, such as there's a Home Depot grant that's available for developers. So I think there's probably a lot of other great opportunities out there that it would be great for us to have just everything all in one document that we can provide to potential developers to really help them out and kind of incentivize them to build in Topeka. Any questions on that one first?
Questions?
None.
Seeing none.
So we also commenced at the beginning of July the Child Care Task Force. This is also written into the Momentum 2027 strategy, and it's one that we felt we really needed to get a jump on. We have a pretty large group in this task force right now, and like the Housing Task Force, there is definitely the potential for that to break into smaller subcommittees at some point. We have a great representation on this task force. Councilman Duncan is a part of it. We also have leaders from the state level. Child Care Aware obviously is a part of this. We also have child care providers, employers, and parents as a part of this group. So we're really trying to get input from as many people that can be involved as possible. We had our 2nd meeting 2 weeks ago, and we kind of had a strategy session to identify what our ultimate goals will be. So some of those goals are to increase the number of available and accessible, which means in close proximity to work or home for the parents, and affordable quality care, which would also include potentially those non-traditional hours for second shift workers or early morning employees, or weekend availability as well. Another goal is to improve the overall public perception of the importance of early childhood providers and valuing them in the same way we do other education providers. It's kind of a consensus of the group that early child care providers just aren't looked at the same way as, you know, your teachers in elementary, middle, and high schools. And maybe because of that, they might not be receiving livable wages or benefits that are available to other education providers. So we're really going to start looking at that and hopefully change that perception and dig more into that. One thing that came up was creative transportation options to and from childcare. This is one that some of the actual childcare providers have brought up. And I can't really give a whole lot more detail on that. That's one that we need to dig into more and kind of see what they mean by that. And then the other identified goal is to develop ideas and options that would create employer buy-in. So as you know, we do have employers in Topeka that have their own child care facilities like Stormont Vale and Security Benefit. Hills has an agreement with Adventures Early Learning downtown. So we're going to start looking at more ways that we can do that for more companies in Topeka. And with some of the child care providers we've talked to outside of the task force, it seems like many of them are open to doing that, to working with companies, to have a partnership with them, to provide slots for their employees. And they're also open to the idea of those extended hours. So that's really exciting. I feel like the community as a whole is really wanting to solve this problem of childcare. Also, there will be a statewide childcare summit in Salina, either on November 15th or 16th. And this is in response to the Communities in Action summits that were held all across the state. We had one in March, so we are invited to the statewide summit. And that'll be a great opportunity for us to learn from other communities and share strategies with each other. So any questions on the childcare? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. With the improving the overall public perception, you were talking about kind of the respect and the status. With that, is that translating into higher wages, better benefits?
Yes.
So how do you see that happening from the improving the perception?
It's kind of the consensus that it might be something that needs to be handled at the state level through policy change or whatever. But we will be digging further into that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right.
Okay, so I wanted to give another Choose Topeka update. I know that there was an update in the quarterly report, but since then we've had, the numbers have changed quite a bit. I'll say that. So we've really gained momentum a lot on the employer match side of Choose Topeka. Just since the quarterly report came out about a month and a half ago, we had 8 more employer candidates come through and 3 more remote candidates. So with that, we have now a total of 94 candidates, people that have moved to Topeka through the Choose Topeka program, and an average salary of $89,290. We're really excited about the momentum that's on the employer match side because, if you remember, Choose Topeka was initially started to help support our local employers. We've now had over 30 employers utilize the program, and we've had people from over half of the states in the United States move here through the program. I believe we've seen people from 26 states now, which is very exciting.
Wow. That's great. Yeah. Councilmember Everson.
Thank you, Chair. On this, are these numbers for just this year or are these programs?
These are
to date?
total
Okay.
since the start of the program. Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me there's a huge amount of submissions relative to the number. I mean, there's nearly 10,000 submissions, but there's only 94. It says candidates on here, but is that 94 people who've actually done it?
Yeah, that's 94 people who have actually moved here through the program. So the submissions, the 8,500 submissions, so people are able to go out to the Choose Topeka website and submit a resume or an interest form. I go through at least once a week and sort through this. It can be a little cumbersome, but then I set aside resumes that I think would be of interest to our employers based on conversations that I have with HR leaders. And I've started, this month, I've started sending those resumes out to employers in case they would have interest in those candidates. So we do receive a lot. A lot of them they don't attach a resume, or they may not have the skills that we are particularly lacking in Topeka.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Mayor.
Thank you. Have you got an idea, I would imagine you do, you track all of this, what particular job categories seem to be the ones that you get the most submissions for? Are we primarily technical, finance?
For submissions, honestly, we get a lot of fast food and retail. As far as what employers are looking for, I'm having a lot of requests for financial services, engineering, sales, healthcare, education, and then just like management level and manufacturing and distribution.
Interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay. Yeah. Councilmember Nager.
Thank you, Chair. Are you seeing that different age groups, ethnicities, what is the kind of diversity breakdown of the submissions and then the candidates who end up coming through?
So we aren't exactly tracking that information, but on the people that I have communicated with, which is mostly the remote workers, I'm seeing people that are late 20s, early 30s with young families, all the way up to people that are, nearing retirement age that have applied. So it's all across the board. We have had someone who immigrated here from China but has worked in the United States for a while. We have another that's immigrated from a South American country, and right now I can't remember which one it is. But yeah, so we see all kinds.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
You mentioned food service and retail applicants.
Yes.
And so obviously those wouldn't be as high of a wage, but of course they're eager to have affordable housing.
Yeah.
And we do need food service workers
We
and
do.
retail workers as well. So how do you do your selection on those?
Well, again, those are resume submissions that we receive. And I haven't received any requests from employers for those kinds of resumes. And also with the employer match side, it's the employer that's putting the incentive up front, and we are reimbursing them. So an employer may not necessarily have it in their plan to provide a $10,000 incentive to a frontline worker.
But if they're complaining about it or something, we could
Yeah.
mention it.
Oh, yeah, I have them, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay.
Just have one more thing to share with you guys. On October 7th is National Manufacturing Day. And I don't know if this is a day that we've really recognized as a community too much in the past, but this year we'd like to change that. National Manufacturing Day happens on the first Friday of October every year. Throughout the country, manufacturers may invite students or individuals to their facilities to tour, to learn more about what it's like to work with their company. We've decided to have a manufacturing event, which will be in partnership with Washburn Tech. We're calling it Made for Manufacturing, and that will be on January 26th. We initially hope to have it on October 7th, but there are other events right around that date at Washburn Tech where high school students will be attending, and so we don't want to pull them out of school too many times in 1 month. So we are making the actual event January 26th, but the week of October 7th, we will be recognizing our manufacturers through social media posts. We're doing this again in partnership with Washburn Tech, so it'll be on Washburn social media as well as GTP, Go Topeka social media. We'll be featuring people who attended Washburn Tech in the past and have risen up through the ranks at their company. We'll also be featuring just different manufacturers and what they do through videos, pictures, interviews, and things like that. So we're very excited about that.
That's great.
Any questions on that one?
Any questions? No?
Okay.
Good. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, JEDO members. My name is Rhett Blood, and I'm here to talk a little bit about Top City Interns. So this year, the 2022 Top City Interns program was back to pre-pandemic levels. And if you guys aren't familiar with Top City Interns program, Top City Interns is a supplemental tool that employers can use to better leverage their own internal intern programs. So what we want to do is we want to show Topeka off in the best possible light, young professional offerings and offerings for those who are just just entering the workforce. So this year, like I said, we were back to pre-pandemic levels, and we had about 200 interns with 23 different companies, and we had 6 in-person events that averaged 55 to 60 interns per event. So we were absolutely happy with the success of the program this year, and we think it's integral for employers to retain their talent that they get. So short update, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Any questions? Councilmember Emerson.
Thank you, Chair. Not a question, but a comment. Because my a little bit of affiliation with RNS, we got invited to their thing down, and it was a great event downtown there. he just had, so.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that in just a second.
Okay, I'm not sure on the demographic you want, but, sorry.
I appreciate that, and I'm sure Zach does too, and I would like to introduce Zach Surratt. He's on the Forge board, and he was the presenting sponsor for Forge Fest, and he's with R&S Maintenance.
Thank you so much. First time here, so thank you all for having me. My name is Zach Surratt. I'm on the leadership board for Forge Young Talent, currently serving as the chair for the Engage Herd, which is our civic engagement herd. We recently had our biggest event of the year, which is called Forge Fest. I'm going to keep talking even though this is moving. And we are pretty happy to report that that was very successful despite the rainy and gloomy weather off and on during the event and having some competing events that night. We did approach around 700 attendees, we estimate, so we are pretty happy about that for just it being our second continuous year after COVID. And happy to have seen some of you all there, Chairperson Mays, and special thanks to Councilperson Emerson for making sure I ate dinner that night. I am with Forge, but also with R&S Maintenance, which was the presenting sponsor, so that entire week leading up to the event was a busy one. So I was a little forgetful, but we did get to enjoy some great ribs from one of the vendors that we had there. This was absolutely beneficial to our young community. As you can see, now we've got the pictures up there. And I love the picture with all the gentlemen, the R&S hats. So I think it was pretty successful for the businesses as well. I think you might even recognize some of them. But this was beneficial to our organization for Forge to get ourselves out there, and we're really rejuvenating our organization as well as benefiting our partners. Like I said, I'm with R&S, and this is the first time we've really done a major marketing event like this, and this was absolutely beneficial to us, as well as a lot of our partners and longtime sponsors for Forge. So we are, again, happy to report that this was a very successful event, and we cannot wait to do it again next year with the support of JEDO. And I will answer any questions that you have.
Any questions? All right, well, I'll make a comment. I had a blast. It was a lot of fun at Forge Fest. I think it was a successful event. And even though I'm slightly older than your target demographic, I still enjoy attending your events, and so happy to have come to that. And then Rhett, also on the intern program, I think that's fantastic as well. So congratulations on the success of the program. So,
And we'll just say nobody's too old for Forge. We have a target demographic, but we are community oriented, so everybody is welcome.
Oh, you squeak in there.
all right.
So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, you got a lot of happy people over at the Greater Topeka Partnership. Everybody's proud of what they do and proud of their job, so hats off to all of us.
I agree with that. I think it's fantastic. You're doing a great job.
I like that.
Hey, I just want to let you all know what's going on at, there you go. What's going on at, in Equity and Opportunity and Minority Women Business Development. So we all know that it's critical for a small business to have access to capital. And so we've been working around the state trying to figure out what we could do to give those micro-sized businesses an opportunity to grow. So Network Kansas came up with a program they call Empower. And the Empower Loan Program would loan those micro businesses up to $15,000 with a 4% rate. And so we have had a tremendous amount of success with that program. So as you can see, access to capital, we had 5 businesses in 1 month get $15,000. Can you even imagine what that's doing to those businesses? Can you begin to imagine how, they have gone from wondering how they were going to make it to making it? And so the next step is for them to go to another platform and look at opportunity. All of them said, I have this paid off in no time. I just needed the opportunity. And so we're glad to be able to partner with Network Kansas and bring this loan program to the forefront. They also, I think I told you all this last time, that we were looking at funding a business that was a childcare business. It has 35 employees and over 65 kids in its facility at the moment. They're about a month and a half years old, and a month and a half old. That sounds funny, a month and a half old. They're about a month and a half old, and they've done a wonderful job. We've actually in-housed this loan, and it came from our loan coffers. So we're really excited about that. We have 2 pending candidates that are looking at opportunities as well. And so we are actually growing the micro-sized businesses, which is one of the things that we set out to do. The next thing is Covert Research. So we had an individual call us and ask us if they could do some research in our community on how COVID impacted minority businesses. And so, along with Washburn, Rochester, New York, a professor from Rochester and a professor from Pittsburgh, they came into our community, and we are going to be compared to those other communities our size, Rochester and Pittsburgh, and they're going to look at how COVID impacted us against them and look at what the benefits are, what we had to support our small businesses at that time, because we were right on top of it, and we were doing better than a lot of communities when we were going through what COVID gave us. We gave it back to them, and we saved a lot of our businesses as a result. And so they called and they said, we want to kind of do some research and take a look at it, and then we'll come back to you and give you the results. And they will come back to us. She said in 2 months. I said, can you make it quicker? So we're trying to see if she can make it quicker than that. And so one of the things that we have to realize is that we have to be prepared in the future if something like this happens. So we actually need a contingency plan. We need to be able to work on something like that. And so we will start thinking about it for next year. How do we begin to look at our minority businesses and what they might need, or our businesses in general, what they might need in this case. And so I will work with Dr. Juma over at Washburn University because she was one of the candidates that helped, or one of the researchers that helped with this piece. This piece will go out into, she said, to educational journals. I said, well, that's fine that it goes out to educational journals, but we need to know it too as business community. And so as the business community, they will come back and present to us, and I will let you all know if you'd like to hear the results. Site visits, we did we visited a lot of small businesses, or I would say minority businesses, since this is category. Visited a lot of minority businesses, and what we wanted to see was, what can we do to help you? Well, those were some of the same businesses that got these loans that we're talking about. They said, we need working capital, or we need to buy a new piece of equipment. So that resulted in 6 of those loans that you see under the access to capital. If we had sat in our office and not visited them, can you imagine what might have happened? And so we are actively looking at what is our role in this community besides, just giving a loan. We need to be out there amongst the businesses, working the businesses, seeing what they need, and giving them the help that they need. And so we've been doing a lot of that here lately. And then I want to invite you all to Minority Enterprise Development Week. That's a week where in 1983, President Reagan decided that we needed to look at minority businesses as an asset to our communities and look at what they were doing and see what they brought to the table and begin to embrace that and use that as we grew our industry. And so he created Minority Enterprise Development Week. Now, Med Week as a program that they've had on the state level, but you don't know it as a program that we've had on the city level. So we're bringing it to the city level and looking at how we get individuals excited about access to education and access to capital and access to opportunities to bid on product or service that a company has offered, introducing them to individuals that are buyers. I have a couple of buyers coming out Monday morning as we kick off Med Week to help us understand how to better do business with them. and then working with the Department of Commerce, with Rhonda Harris, making sure that even on that level, our businesses can see where they belong. And so we're doing a lot of that as well. And then finally, 2022 DEI Summit is happening in September. We are doing it over at Prairie Band. We invite you all to come. There's a lot of information that we're gathering, and there are a lot of people out there that are interested in the topic and how it can help them grow their small businesses, medium and large businesses. It's sponsored by Hill's Pet Nutrition. We have some individuals coming from Procter & Gamble that are Hill's mother company, I should say, and they are actually going to deliver some of the things that they're doing that help them be successful on a national level. And we're talking about a Fortune 500 company coming to our community to help us put on a DEI summit. So I invite you there. I look forward to seeing somebody from this body there. And that's all my report for tonight. If I can answer any questions, please.
Any questions? All right.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I will be at the DEI Summit on September 27th. Neither my coworkers or my wife believe I'm going to a meeting at the casino, but I'll have to take pictures that we're actually there. You don't have to go too deep in the woods on this one, but could you just give besides just being a minority applicant for those loans, are there other criteria that individuals
This loan
have?
is specifically for minority businesses. It's very easy access to this loan.
Okay.
They're not looking at the people's credit. They're looking at potential.
Okay.
And so, no, it's very, very easy to get. But we don't want to take advantage of that. We want to have that person ready, willing, and able to do the job. So we are working, once he gets the loan or she gets the loan, we work side by side with them to make sure that they're, running that business to the best of their ability. We provide all of the resources that they may need. If they need counseling, if they need an attorney, whatever they may need, we want to be there by their side.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Councilmember Nager.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for this presentation. I just also want to applaud you on the site visits. I know that that's an integral part of making sure that the resources, that the money, that the opportunities are getting to the people who need it most, because the people who need it most are in the weeds at work. And so I just am so happy to hear that you're going out, you're engaging with the community, because that means they're going to go out and engage with their peers, and that's going to help more people and really amplify these funds. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to say one more thing. Starting tomorrow is Hispanic Heritage Month, and I just wanted to have you celebrate that as well. We will have some information coming out on what's going on around the community. I'm working with the mayor's wife to make sure that we embrace Hispanic heritage and that we go out and celebrate. I want you all to visit a business or, buy something. Make sure that we have, make an impact during that month, and that we celebrate the heritage that is sort of a baseline for our community. Okay?
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glenda.
Oh, I have to do PTAC. I knew that. So you all see the return on investment that PTAC makes to the community. PTAC is one of our assets, and we always talk about it. It's so quiet, but it's doing phenomenal things. And if you look at that, the numbers that Christy brings in, no one can match them. Can you imagine $30 million in our state? That wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't a PTAC, this community. So I say to you, PTAC does a wonderful job. She works remotely now, but she does a wonderful job in making sure, I don't know, I didn't do that, did you? Okay. And so you see her counseling hours, her client hours. A lot of the clients, we refer them. So they come to us and we say, you need to be certified so that you can bid on these opportunities, because we see the capacity they may have or the capabilities that they may have. And again, I say she does a wonderful job. Okay.
Great.
Any questions regarding Christy?
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for coming back up.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Evening.
I'm Lori Piper, Vice President of Entrepreneurship and Small Business at Go Topeka. With me this evening, I have Tammy Cortez, who is the Chair of our Small Business Incentives Committee, and also Sean Gatewood, who is a recent recipient of one of our small business incentives. Sean, I think I would like to start out by giving you an opportunity to say something about what the Small Business Incentive Program has meant to your business.
Sure. If you'd like to. Hello, members of the committee. I have a slight height difference. I am Sean Gatewood. I know several of you. And my wife and I this year started Play It Again Sports in the Fairlawn Plaza Mall. We have never been in retail before. It's quite an investment right up front in the beginning. It is a franchise, so we had a lot of guidance with that. But as somebody that has not, I've had other businesses and whatever else, but nothing anywhere close to the investment that this took. And so particularly with right now, inflation, holy cow, I overran a couple of budgets. Just because, by the time we get the bid in to getting the loan closed and whatever else. So the loans were very important to us, kind of being able to stick close with what the original budget was and what the original loan proposal was, particularly now. But we've been very proud of what we've been able to do as a business. We've done a lot of community work, raised money for the new crisis center that's being built at Family Service and Guidance. We've done some raising money for leagues. We're really proud of the education we've provided to our employees, and all of that is a portion made possible by these grants. So we want to thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
And then here are a couple of I don't want to go through all of the businesses that we've been working with. I just thought I'd point out a couple. Merit Weight Loss had construction renovation equipment and marketing. And they sent a letter. I'm not going to read the entire letter for the sake of time, but I'd like to just read 2 sentences from it. We are so thankful to Go Topeka and the incentives that we were able to receive to help us start our business, Merit Weight Loss. We truly believe that without this support, we wouldn't be where we are today with a thriving business serving our community just 3 months since opening our doors. So they've been going quite busy with their business, and just immediately the number of clients that they had showed how much need there was for this business in our community. Clearview is a company that used one of our incentives to hire employees. They did marketing to recruit employees, which is one of the allowable uses of the marketing incentive. So not sure what's going on there. So I just want to point out that we are tracking where the applications are coming from to make sure that we are serving the community. So the dots are where we're getting applications from. We're tracking the demographic information to make sure, again, that we're working with our community in the Small Business Incentive Program. This is something that I really want to focus on for a little bit. We have a balanced budget for this year for the Small Business Incentive Program. The way that it works is every year the funds that we encumber in the fourth quarter, because they come so late, will be carryover for the next year. So we used all but $17 in our budget for through the third quarter. And we did this because the Small Business Incentive Committee did such a great job of reviewing the applications and really making tough decisions. Tammy, would you like to say something about what you do?
Yeah, on behalf of the committee, we really appreciate the mission of the incentives program. And I've personally been able to see most of the site visits that we've done so far. They've made a huge impact for our community as well as the businesses that we're helping. It's been a great honor, actually, to work with Lori on this program. She's done a great job.
Well, the committee does a lot of work.
You put a great framework together.
Thank you.
For us to work from.
It's a tremendous amount of work to go through the applications, but as you'll remember, this year we introduced a competitive application process. And so 4 times a year, we look at all of the applications that have come in during that window. And this is really, we believe, elevated the quality of the applications that we're receiving. In terms of the requested funds that we received this year, we had about double what we were able to offer to businesses through the small business incentive program. These are funds that we have currently encumbered. A lot of the businesses are still in their performance period, so we haven't written the checks yet, but we have the money in the account so that we can write the checks when they finish their performance period. Before I move on to other slides, do you have any questions about this portion of it?
Councilmember Emerson.
Thanks, Chair. A lot, but maybe too many to ask you tonight.
Oh, well, I'd be happy to chat with you after if you'd like.
Yeah, I guess my main question is there's $17 left there. Do you put money in it every quarter? I know you said something like the fourth quarter submissions.
Yeah, so what we did is our year started out with $300,000. We had carryover from last year. At the end of our second quarter, we had actually allocated most of our budget. But one of the things that we've done this year is we've instituted a monthly progress report process so that we can find out whether the projects are on track, whether the companies are needing assistance. If they're not on track, we put the funds, if they're not going to be able to be on track, we put the funds back in the pot and allocate them to another company, which we had almost $50,000 of funds that we had approved, that we had pre-approved. Companies told us that they weren't going to be able to use those. In a lot of cases, it was because of supply chain issues. They just couldn't get them anymore. In some cases, it was because the costs had gone up so much that they no longer thought that it was going to be a good investment. In some cases, they had other reasons for not being able to move forward, but we monitor the company's progress, and if they're not going to be able to use the funds, we return them to the pool so that they can get allocated to another company. So we have some odd numbers, but we also have a list of what companies are next to receive funds if we have funds that are coming back.
Thank you for that. I'll have to talk to you afterwards because I still don't follow it. Just one other question. This dashboard, is that something the public can look at?
It's not currently published on a website, but the public can see that. I mean, we can make it available to the public.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Councilmember Harold?
I need to follow up and see if I heard you right. When you changed how you did your process, did I hear that the sense was that competitive process was attracting more businesses to apply and better applications?
It's attracting better applications, and people are having to put more thought into how they're going to use the funds and how that investment in their company is going to help them be more profitable, increase their gross revenues, enter new markets, hire more employees, those kinds of things. So as we've been training companies to apply, we've been seeing better quality applications in terms of the thought that companies are putting into how they're going to use the funds to really do something that's going to be impactful.
It might be a little early to ask you this question because you've been here, what, 2 years?
One.
Okay. Are you tracking them now for whatever their goals were? And, you know, some people's goal is just to have this one-person business, have it run great, and that's it. Others are wanting to grow the size of their companies.
That is part of what we're doing. We started this new system in January.
Okay.
The first approvals went out in March. Most of the companies are still in their performance period, but that is something that we're doing. Part of the application process now requires the companies to state what the metrics of success are for the project, so that we have something that we can go back and say, you know, this is what you were hoping to do with these funds. Did the purchase of the equipment or the construction or the expansion or whatever, did it enable you to achieve these things? So we've got that so that we can go back and ask precisely that question.
That is excellent, thank you. And I'm glad that it's scaled based on what their expectations are, because growth isn't necessarily the goal of not number of employees or volume. It just
So
depends.
we have different criteria that the companies need to be doing something that's going to be impactful in terms of economic impact, but there are different ways in which that can manifest itself, and our criteria allow us to take that into account.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right.
So, okay, Aaron. Can you? Okay. So this is what our cash flow projections are, to show that the company, a lot of the companies are still in the performance period, and that we're expecting some of them not to complete the performance period until out into 2023. We've been tracking the reasons when companies have a delay in their performance, or they're just not going to be able to. We've been tracking the reasons why, so that we have a better understanding of what's going on in the small business community, and so that we can try to find ways to help them. This is something that is new that we introduced in this last review. We've introduced an additional category in terms of how we prioritize the review of the applications. So our first review of applications is looking at any companies that are primary employers, which are companies that are bringing most of their revenues in from outside of the community. We did have one that we had given pre-approval to for a rather large incentive, and they decided that with inflation the way it is right now, it wasn't the right time for them to make that investment, and so they did return that back to us. Otherwise, we would have had more companies that received a pre-approval that would have fallen into Tier 1. What is new is we introduced this Tier 2, other strategic priorities that align with our goals. And so looking at things like being able to provide grants to companies that provide essential services, such as daycare facilities, and companies that are making investments into blighted neighborhoods. We want to make sure that we're serving rural-based businesses, and also trying to help keep from having empty storefronts downtown or in our neighborhood retail areas. We're trying to look at things that are impactful, so that in that second round of review, we're prioritizing things that align with our strategic mission. And then in our third round of review, we go through all of the other applications that are remaining. So we're really finding that the majority of the applications that are getting approval are falling into that second category, where they're aligning with something that is of importance to us. In addition to the straight-out economic impact that we're expecting. So before I move on to the next item, any other questions about the small business incentives?
Questions? All right.
Thank you. we have a university engagement strategy. This is something that's been very exciting to work with Washburn University, Kansas State University, and University of Kansas. Part of this is our having very frequent conversations with them about ways in which we can collaborate. Just a couple of items that I'm going to mention are we're currently working with two businesses with Kansas State University on 2 proof of concept projects for innovation. On one of them, K-State did a matching grant to one of our small business incentives for proof of concept. And so that's something that's going to be very exciting. We have another one that they're currently working with to try to develop the proof of concept. We're also working with them on how to advance the K-State 105 project. For Washburn, we have, for the first time, we're helping them put on a Washburn University Entrepreneur Showcase. So that's going to have student, faculty, and alumni entrepreneurs from Washburn University. Also, we're the sponsor for their pitch competition. And then we've got some exciting things that we're talking about with the University of Kansas in terms of ways in which we can support them on some grant applications that they're submitting. So hopefully those will get approved, and we'll be able to report back on that. And then also talent retention is something that's an important part of our engagement with the universities. Propeller is our mentorship network. For time considerations, I'll just tell you it's going, it's interesting. We're excited about how that's going to support entrepreneurs in our community. And then I would like to invite you to the events of Global Entrepreneurship Week. I do have a handout on that I can share so that you can see what events that we're having. But this is something that we're very excited to be doing. It's something that communities around the globe that support entrepreneurs do and take seriously, and this is the first time that we've had anything in celebration of it. The U.S. Small Business Administration is very excited that we're putting this on, and they've actually made a commitment to come to all of our events for that week. And we've been reaching out to a lot of partners to participate in the events. So I just want to let you know that that's going on. Make sure you get it on your calendars, and look forward to seeing you at those.
All right. Any other questions? No? All right. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Moran, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Innovation for Go Topeka. And I'm going to give you a quick update here on innovation and Plug and Play. Lindsay Laban is unable to join us this evening, so I'll speak on her behalf for Plug and Play as well. As we kind of launch into our innovation discussion, as we're all aware, we had great success early on with attracting the Plug and Play animal health vertical here to Topeka. A lot of the team's focus was on getting that program up and running. I think it came to fruition much faster than everybody anticipated, and so we've had great success with that program, which we'll go through here in just a moment. But as our innovation board has come back together and we're reestablishing our strategy, we're looking at now what do we need to do now that we have Plug and Play solidly on foot and moving forward. We really need to kind of go back and look at the basics. So we kind of leapfrogged ahead with Plug and Play. Now we need to go back and build our foundation and establish our strategic direction around programming and the programs that support those entrepreneurs and innovators in the area. So the Innovation Board has come up with kind of 4 key pillars that really focus around our Innovation Center downtown. And I'll address Innovation Center here in just a moment on the next slide. But really what those 4 key components are, we have to have that place, but within that place, we need funding for our innovators and entrepreneurs. So we need angel investor networks, we need venture capital. And so we're working with our community to identify where those angel investor, venture capital firms are at and connecting them with our programs. We have a lot of great pieces of the puzzle already in the community. We just need to connect them all. And so we're using that network to go out and get those people in place. I was actually meeting with our Mid-America Angel Investors earlier before I came to this meeting. We'll be announcing an event on that coming up shortly, so that's exciting. Education and programming services. So as the innovators and entrepreneurs come into our community, we need to have kind of a business concierge service, if you will. We need to have legal services. We need to have back-end office support. We need to have business planning, R&D, all of the things that help those businesses get established and get started, all in one easy-to-find location. As a small business, you don't have the time to invest in researching all the different places to find those services. We need to have them available. We need to go take that education even further down. As Lori mentioned, we're working with our university partners, and we'd like to then move that on down into our high school and elementary and connect at a younger age. We need to get those young entrepreneurs connected to the programs so that we can bring them up through our talent pipeline. And that is the next topic. So we have our incubators and our accelerators, plug and play. OmniCircle here in town is starting up. So we've got a lot of great resources to bring people through. Pitch programs and mentoring programs, really helping them establish their foothold within that innovation ecosystem. And then getting our community involved. I think, there's a lot of education we can do within the community to help them understand what we're trying to do to build this innovation network. And to educate our entrepreneurs and innovators who are coming into the community on the things that we have to offer. Housing, childcare, quality of life, access to all of the resources that we have within our community will make a very strong ecosystem for us to draw new companies to Topeka. So, on the Innovation Campus, you all should have received an invitation, and if not, here's your invitation right now. We have an open house down at the Innovation Center tomorrow evening from 5 to 7 p.m. Our developers from BioRealty will be here on site. We'll be giving tours of the facility. We've done a lot of work here in the last couple of months, so our historic tax credits were finalized in July. I've been working with the BioRealty team to really clean out that building, so there has been many truckloads of debris removed from that facility. We have the open house taking place tomorrow evening, and then that will start our pre-leasing. So we have a co-working tenant identified, and BioRealty is working on a lease with them, so that lease is in negotiation right now. We are identifying additional pre-lease tenants and hoping to finalize those agreements. If you'll recall, we need a 50% pre-lease of that facility in order to begin construction. And then we will update construction costs with our final historic tax credit information, finalize any incentive agreements, and then begin construction. So we're excited to see some movement on this facility. I've been in the building, I've walked the tour. So if you're coming tomorrow night, make sure you wear your walking shoes because it is a very extensive walking tour. But it's a great space. There is just, 65,000 square feet of space available in that facility. There's a lot of opportunity for mixed use space, offices, co-working, lab, retail, a lot of opportunities there.
Great.
From a plug-and-play perspective, we just selected our batch 4. We have 12 startups that will be joining the new cohort. They have a wide variety of products. They are also based all around the world, so we have about half of the group is international, about half is based in the U.S. We have companies out of Singapore, Canada, Spain, UK, and Israel in this batch. Excuse me. They have packaging, sustainability, companion pet care products. There's a livestock company, alternative proteins, and AI. So we're covering a pretty wide berth of companies in this current batch. Some great pitches that we listened to. Pet Hub was actually also at the Animal Health Summit in Kansas City here just a couple of weeks ago. So had the opportunity to meet the representatives from that company and get to know them a little bit more as they're coming into the batch. Some great products out there. We've got some quick bios on those companies. Like I said, they're all really great companies. A couple of the interesting ones are kind of the Keurig of pet food for cats and dogs. So great things coming down the pipeline. I'd like to also kind of give you a quick update on the successes that we've seen through the plug and play vertical. Just in batch 3 alone, we had 11 startups. We did 14 deep dives with those startups. We signed 9 NDAs coming out of that. There's still 7 ongoing conversations. 4 of them have pilot programs in place, and we've made a total of 120 connections for those partners. So a lot of great work going on through Plug and Play. Some other notables just throughout all of the batches. Denbeat from the original batch is actually in a pilot program with K-State Veterinary School at the moment. We have Bond Pet Food, who has a partnership with Hills. Stenco's an exciting one. I know they've been in the community quite a bit. Lindsay and I were just down with them in Cargill about 3 weeks ago. We've got another pilot in progress with Cargill, and we should have some results to report on that when we come back for the next JEDO meeting. We also have pilots with Aegis, W-Cycle. There's one that's still under NDA that we can't announce with Hills. We've had great conversations with Novo Nutrients when they were here in Topeka back in May. Teletails has actually signed a partnership with Dodo to launch Dodo Vet, and then Mulek has actually gone public. So we've seen some really good successes just out of the year and a half that we've been working with the Plug and Play vertical. So great successes there. We're excited for things to come with Plug and Play. The November summit will take place November 15th through 17th. We've got members of the community that'll be going out to that summit, again, to showcase and work with the partners there, let them know all the great things that we have here in Topeka, and look to be bringing those expos back to Topeka in 2023. And I think that's what I've got. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions? No? All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Good.
That's great.
That's it? All right. Somebody wants to bring it on home? All right, well, then we'll move to the next item.
Item 5, public comment.
I don't have anyone signed up for public comment. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none. Next item, please.
Item 6, a reminder of the December 14th JEDO meeting.
Okay, next item, next meeting is Wednesday, December 14th. I think that's it though, right?
That's it.
Okay, all right. Well, then we're adjourned.